Hey guys, happy Friday. David here. I'm currently parked at Standard Park, which is where I like to go hang out sometimes in the morning for a little while. It's nice and peaceful here. You can usually find a nice shade tree. I don't get out of the car usually, but park in a nice shady parking spot and just kind of enjoy they have a lot of eucalyptus trees, a lot of other trees, and I've mentioned this park before. A lot of good memories here from the time I was a kid. Went to Standard School off in the distance there. I can hear the band practicing. Hear some drum action going on over there, which is kind of neat. I play the drums, as you know. My wife Amy also plays the drums, and she was in the band. She was really excellent drummer in the band. And it's funny because she mentioned before to me the story about how when she was a young girl, she always liked the drums. And when she was in junior high, the band teacher tried to get her to play some other instrument, the bells or some typically feminine type instrument, if you would call it that. But she was dead set on playing the snares, so he finally gave in, and I guess she got pretty good at it. She could do all the paradiddles and all that stuff in the marching band. When we were dating, I used to go to her band competitions and stuff, and I always joked with her because I always said, yeah, you just got into the drums because you wanted to meet the boys in there, and she always just shakes her head at me, but I like teasing her about that. So anyway, I'm just sitting here at the park. I was chatting with Piper the Sailor the Piper Man earlier. He was doing a live, and we did had a little conversation with him, which was always fun. So, but just smoking some Prince Albert today in my cheap little Baracchini pipe. It's a $20 Miracle pipe. Got 5 of them for $100, and I've mentioned that a lot of time. Sorry, I'm just holding my phone today because my phone holder is in a different spot, and it wasn't a good spot. So anyway, I may have to put it in there in a minute, though. In fact, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pause the video and put it in there. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, much easier this way. Let's see if I can do something here. Okay. I dropped Amy off at school at about 7:15 and came over here to the park, and I'll be here for a while, not too much longer, I guess, but I always enjoy coming here. I like to, I sit on my patio a lot, smoking my pipe, but sometimes you just want a change of scenery, so this park is a nice one. Of course, this is when the zombies start coming out, aka the homeless people. My wife had opened back to school night last night, and so after I dropped her off, it was about an hour and a half, but I decided I wasn't sure if I wanted to drive home. It's only like 15 minutes to get to our house from her school, but I thought, well, I'll just kind of hang out for a while, drive around. So I came yesterday afternoon, parked here, and man, the park was crawling with homeless people. And like there's a guy right now bathing himself in a drinking fountain. He's got swim trunks on, luckily, or shorts. Kind of a shame that you can't really come to a park with your family anymore and without having to kind of deal with that. And it's not that I don't feel sorry for people who are homeless, but most of the homeless people around here are drug addicts, and they're strung out usually on something. And reminds me when I worked at DHS, a lot of the homeless people there, they'd be walked in the median of a busy intersection, yelling at cars, banging on street signs, things like that. So not very enjoyable when you have a family with you, or even if you're just by yourself trying to get some peace and quiet at the park. Oh well, that's the way it is nowadays. I know this one particular van that's parked here every morning. Well, he kind of alternates. He'll park here at the park, and there's a field to the north of the park. He'll park over there, but he's obviously a homeless guy who's living out of a van. Well, I guess he's got a home in a van, but he kind of has been hanging out here a lot, it seems like. I'm enjoying doing the Psalms readings. I hadn't really thought about the duration of the book of Psalms, though, when I started. 150 chapters, 150 days. So if you watch those, please don't feel that you need to comment on every one of them, because I know that can get kind of old. So if you do watch them, I hope you enjoy them. But again, I appreciate your comments and all that. But don't feel obligated to do that, because I know that would be a pain to have to do that for 150 days consecutively. I usually record the voice part at some point where it's quiet. I can't do it on my patio because my dog Penny, she's always making noise. I don't understand her noises. She sounds like a monkey a lot of times. So I tried yesterday recording the reading about 4 times and had to give it up and go into the house and do it because she wouldn't cooperate with my recording. I really wish I could have used Spencer's posts for that. He did such a wonderful job, and I guess I just enjoyed looking at them, and I'm proud of him, so I enjoyed putting those out. But unfortunately, the music issue causes a problem on YouTube, so a lot of the copyrights songs are copywritten, even though those are very short videos and the volume is very low. They still get tagged and blocked by YouTube, so that's why I had to kind of resort to doing my own, which I had originally thought about doing anyway, but still, mine aren't as nicely done as Spencer's, but they're done at least. You guys have any guys and gals have any plans for the weekend? I think for us it'll be a pretty low-key weekend, although I do have a work day at the church tomorrow, so it goes from 9 till 12, and they want to prepare several rooms in the church for painting, and there's a lot of yard work to be done and all that, so I'll do that. I can think about a lot of other things I'd rather be doing on a Saturday morning, like mowing my own lawn, but I know it's a good thing to do that, and it's good to set an example for people when you go there and do that. So I'll be doing that tomorrow for a while. Other than that, we have a pretty low-key weekend. The kids, we had our family dinner last Saturday night, and 2 out of the 3 families were able to come. Spencer and his family, though, weren't able to because his girls were sick. He was kind of sick too, so it's never the same when all 3 families aren't there. All the kids, they're families, but it's probably this time of the year when school starts, a lot of kids are getting sick and all that, so we aren't always able to meet with everyone like we'd like to. I ended up, for my computer at home, I have an old Mac Pro, which probably 15 years ago, 15 to 16 years ago, those were like the top of the line Apple computer. They were really super expensive, far out of the reach of any normal consumer. So they were cool though, because they were more like a PC in that they came in a large case, and they have slots for 5 hard drives, and they have these mounting rails that slide in and out, so you could really change things up quite easily, and, much more easily than the old PCs where you had to configure the hard drives, need a master drive, a slave drive, and you had to configure the pins correctly and put those in, which is always a headache. The Mac, you just slide them in and it recognized them automatically and you're ready to go. But unfortunately, my Mac Pro, being a little long in the tooth, I couldn't update a lot of programs like browser, Chrome, Google Chrome. Couldn't update that. Safari was an old version. That's Apple's proprietary internet browser. That was outdated. Several of the programs I used you can no longer use, so I finally decided I needed to get something else. And I had a hard time deciding because I do enjoy Apple computers. I've had a Mac, an iMac for the last 25 years. But they're a lot more expensive for what you get. So I ended up getting a little PC. It's called a mini PC, but it has 32 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 gigabyte hard drive and a pretty fast AMD chip set. And it's really fast. So I got that from Amazon, hooked it all up yesterday, and it's been a lot of fun. I do miss some of the Apple computer programs and all that, but for the price, it just can't be beat. I paid $400 for this computer, the Mac Mini, which is kind of the same format, same form factor at least, was about $600, and you only got half the RAM and a fourth of the hard drive size. So it's a much better bang for your buck. But of course, it doesn't really mesh with my iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watch. But that's okay. I think it's worth the extra effort. So I'm enjoying that. I've always enjoyed messing around with PCs and computers and Apple computers. I used to build PCs as a hobby years ago. These computer fairs would come to town at our fairgrounds. Basically, you'd go and buy all the components, the motherboard, the case, the memory, the processor, take all these things home and put them all together. They're all modular, so it wasn't, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to put this stuff together. That was always fun. I enjoyed that until it no longer became cost effective. You can get a pre-built computer for probably a lower price, although you kind of miss some of that hands-on stuff, screwing the motherboard to the case and doing all that sort of thing. But that's gotten more complicated with time. My wife has an HP all-in-one computer, 24-inch screen, and I had increased the memory in it. No, I hadn't. That's something else. It's a laptop I did. I decided to put a larger hard drive in her computer. No, it was memory, RAM. But you have to take you have to take the thing apart. And in doing so, I took it apart, put it back together a few times because I had some issue with the memory. And the last time I did it, I did something where she has these black blotches on her screen now. They're not blotches, they're like little irregularly shaped black marks. And it's a touchscreen computer. So I think in putting that together, I messed something up. So I felt bad about that and apologized to her. And now she's stuck with the computer that I tried to upgrade, or I did upgrade, but I also downgraded the visual effect of the whole thing, which stinks. So anyway, apparently not as good at computer fixing as I used to be, or they've just gotten more complicated, or both. That's all right. This is truly a ramble. Yeah, I went to Cigar Beds yesterday and noticed they had Peterson. They had several tins of different tobaccos, obviously, they always do, but I was able to procure or get 5 tins of my mixture 965 for $5.50 a tin, and they also have some early morning pipe that I'm gonna get, so, or try to get at least. If you've never been to Cigar Beds, it's a pretty good deal. The only thing that will get you is the shipping. Sometimes they have you have to make a couple decisions. When you order from them, you can get your items shipped out. You have to choose a shipping day, basically. So I chose Thursday. So if you accumulate several purchases between maybe Thursday evening and Wednesday, they will ship that out on Thursday. And they charge $4, I think, for the first item and $1 for every other item. So it can get expensive. In fact, so for my 4 or 5 tins of 965, I'll end up paying about $10 for that. But if I buy some other ones, the shipping will be $1 per tin. So you just have to kind of strategize to decide how frequently you want the shipping done, and how you make your purchases. And in their auctions, so you're not always, can't always be sure you're going to win something. So it's a little like eBay in that way. You have to submit a bid and all that and hope for the best. This morning I'm supposed to go have breakfast with my mom's best friend. Her name's Darlene. She was my mom's roommate for probably about 12 years. And so she lived with us while I was growing up, and my mom got married, and she got married. But then my mom passed away, and she's struggled since then. So I'll go and talk with her this morning. She wanted to go have breakfast this morning, so I'll be meeting her at about 9 o'clock. It is about 8:05 right now, so I'll be doing that, and that should be nice. She's about 80, she's 82. So not much sure, how much longer we'll have her with us either, but it'll be nice to get together with her. And for the rest of the day, I may mow my lawn if I can get to it before it gets too hot. We had a new lawn put in about a month ago, so I was finally able to start mowing that, which I was really excited to do. And I still enjoy doing that. Just got to get to it before it gets too hot, though. Well, guys, I've kept you for about 15 and a half minutes here, and just rambling, talking at you. So hope you guys have a great day and a nice weekend. God bless y'all, and I'll talk to you soon.